Between 2010 and 2016, there were, because remember now we're only talking about murders, but there were 798 crimes against journalists, according to the special prosecutor that deals with this in Mexico. And that includes, of course, kidnappings and getting beaten up, assaults. Kidnappings and assaults. Now, when we talk about assaults, we're not talking about three muggers getting a journalist and kicking him around in a corner. We're talking about cutting off the tongue, as happened to more than one journalist, as a message for other journalists not to speak up.
Mexicans, by the way, in control of cartels of this cocaine trade are now operating globally. If the U.S. market were to disappear tomorrow, the trade would be sustained because cocaine in Europe, cocaine in Russia, cocaine in Asia, cocaine in Australia, even in China it's found, much less the predominant consumers of cocaine today are Italy and Argentina, the higher rates per capita. So the global market will sustain this trade almost independently of what happens in the United States, though this is a huge area where demand is high and revenue is strong. So this has gotten a little bit out of control. The cocaine cartel revenue is staggering. Add to that now the methamphetamine, the marijuana trade, which continues unabated with the increased prevalence in U.S. states. The other thing we need to attend to is traditionally we've divided countries in our analytic perspective between producer nations and consumer nations. So traditionally you had relatively underdeveloped spaces of the world, Afghanistan, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, producer nations that then transited it through traffickers to consumer nations, the UK or the United States or Canada for that matter. That simply must be dispelled now. It is no longer a dichotomy that's sustainable. Both the United States has itself become a producer nation, and we can return to that in a little bit about legalization and its implications of various drugs. At the same time, and this is very threatening, and I'm not sure the Mexican government has fully accommodated this realization, consumer nations spread themselves, and the producer nations catch the disease. He who sups with the devil must have a long spoon. It was for a long time believed that we could simply move the drugs through our own domains, and the Yankees would pay the price, and the money would flow back. Well, the money did come back. The arms came back as well, the weapons. But what also came back was the patterns of consumption. And so that increasingly Mexico is now facing a potential youth crisis of consumption and prevalence rates in Mexico itself. Their own generation is at risk now for marijuana consumption, for cocaine and methamphetamine consumption, and perhaps, as we shall see, this heroin overdose crisis may well strike there as well, particularly given the fungibility and movement of the synthetic drugs coming so readily through the mails, through various activities that are available that will presumably morph into the countries that have heretofore been producer nations will now find that they have caught the disease. My impression is the Obama years also saw the fostering of a different normative attitude. The legalization out of Colorado, Washington State, and now multiple states of high-potency, concentrated products of marijuana have led to a proliferation of drug trades in the United States that have been capitalized upon by foreign partners. Colombians are present in Colorado. Chinese are present in Colorado and running grow ops. Cubans are present in Colorado doing indoor grows. Mexican cartels are working actively in the distribution. Colorado marijuana is so potent and so desirable that it's being smuggled out of Colorado, which is far easier than smuggling from Mexico, where there's a border and interdiction. Colorado has become an international distribution center where drugs are going out of the United States to markets elsewhere. And accompanying the marijuana market, we're now seeing the surge in the opiates, and the same cartels who are polydrug distributors are gaining revenue. The norms of legalization have not driven out the black market. They have enhanced. This may raise a question in the back of your mind of what avail is a border wall when the cartels are here? Of what avail is a border wall, however, for the Mexicans who can simply go to Europe and Argentina to sell the product? So the border wall may be an important dimension, but it is no means a sufficient response to the crisis.